Of course, we are not going anywhere close to where we should be, but that's okay, folks. It is Streaming Idiots live from the floor of NAB. I'm Tom Sinclair, and I am definitely qualifying for an idiot. I've got Martin Sinclair with me, who we found out we're like 19th cousins. And Martin, of course, is the CEO, the developer, and some of the brains behind vMix. And we're gonna get to him in just a second. But for those of you that are watching live, delighted that you're here. Those of you that are watching on YouTube, you have got to watch us live, because when we screw up, it's so much more fun when it's live. Because you can get in the chat room and you can make fun of me and that kind of thing. And we'll have, this probably won't go up on YouTube till tomorrow. We'll just have to see. But if you're watching live and you miss part of the show, you know you can go back on YouTube. NAB is amazing. If you've never been, save up. It's kind of like a vacation for geeks. And it's a Willy Wonka chocolate factory on steroids. My good friend Mark took me around yesterday and showed me all the sites and helped me. And when I came in today, Mark and I tried to remember all the places we'd been, it was like, oh my gosh, I didn't notice all this. Anyway, NAB is cool. There's some great things that I've seen here. Some of the things that you might be interested in off the bat are Blackmagic has introduced a converter, a mini converter, for under $100 that will go HDMI to SDI or SDI to HDMI. I don't know if it's available yet, but I'll find out and I'll put it in the show notes for this. And that's a price breakthrough. I mean, Blackmagic has always been kind of the high dollar folks, the $300 or $400 converter folks. And you know, you would get the $50 Chinese converter and get 3 of them and put 2 of them in your bag. Well, now you don't have to, because Blackmagic has got their name on a converter that's at an extremely reasonable price. Of course, NDI is the, which camera are we at? We're at this camera right here. Okay,
right
there
here.
we go. NDI, of course, is the talk of the show. Anybody that has anything to do with not even just the streaming industry, but I walk through the halls and it's like every third group of people I see, they're talking NDI. And I'm asking, I'll stop and I'll ask, tell me about your stuff with NDI. Well, we're really excited about it. We've just it's just come on our radar. We're not sure what we can do about it yet. So the folks like vMix that caught the wave of NDI early and are prepared are blowing it out. The rest of the folks are going to come up at the speed. I really think that NewTek has hit the proverbial grand slam on a full count with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th, and has just knocked this one out of the park. This is a winner. If you don't know about NDI, go back and check some of the other videos that we've got in our YouTube archive, because NDI will just blow you away. And I've got the feeling that we have just hit maybe the top 10%, the crust, the surface of what this technology is going to be able to do in all of that. I don't want to get ahead to Martin yet. One other thing, but thank you. Martin is just Martin is like, I'm just glad I'm not having to run this part of the show.
I could just be a spectator for once.
Just found out this morning, Martin's probably known about this for months, but I just found out this morning that there is that proverbial black box that you can plug a camera into and you can plug Ethernet into, and we'll make that camera available as an NDI resource, as an NDI source, without that camera being attached to a PC. It's by a company called
Bird Dog.
Bird Dog, and it's bird/dog.tv. And I actually found out about them this morning. I invited them to come and be on the show, but they're so busy. I'm sure they're blowing it out here. They don't have a booth, but they've got reps here. So we'll get more information on that. The price is a little premium. Looks like about $700 for this adapter. It's about the size of a phone, and it's going to be shipping in a couple of months. So if you're thinking, I need one this summer, it's going to be available. If you're thinking, boy, I'd sure like Blackmagic to make one for $85, then you need to wake up, because that's not going to happen in this world, not anytime soon, I don't think. vMix has really knocked it out of the park on this show too by bringing 17, which has just been released officially, less than a month ago. And 17, of course, brings NDI, but it brings, and you saw it, for those of you that were in the pre-show, we were able to take the PTZ cams and through vMix, control those and show the entire show. And we'll do that towards the end of the show for those of you folks that are watching this on video on demand on YouTube, so that you can get a feel for the show. We're actually at lunchtime, so it's a lot quieter here than it normally would be too. A lot of folks in the chat room, can't wait to give NDI a go. NDI is cool. NDI and vMix is amazing. Absolutely. NDI is a winner for everyone. And of course, everybody wants to see the bird dog. In fact, Martin is going to be giving away free bird dogs, right? Yeah, that everybody's like, yeah, okay, well, we'll take that. Well, that's it for about the intro. One of the other things that vMix is introducing at this show is the vMix U, which is a brand new hardware product that has been in development for a while. And I'm going to turn this part over the show to Martin and let Martin tell you about the vMix U.
Yeah, and it's right here on a stage. In fact, one of the things I've always really wanted to build, just the hardware I've wanted to use myself, is a 1U production switcher that is fully featured. I mean, you can get some switches out there that are in 1U form factor like this, but they just do switching. They've got no video, they've got no streaming, they've got just the switcher, just a switch box. Maybe they can do some graphics, but this is a fully featured rack mount production system with the full power of vMix. And you can see at the back there, you got the SDI ports over here. It's got 4 SDI ports, and then it has the standard PC connectors here on the back. So you've got Wi-Fi, you've got gigabit Ethernet for NDI purposes, you've got USB, you've got 2 HDMI ports, and a DVI port for up to 3 different monitors. So it's quite really light as well. It's compact, it's great to install in a rack mount installation and a satellite truck, OB van, things like that. So a 1U rack mount system, it's called the vMix U. It's released at this show. We're taking pre-orders now through resellers within the US. So this is currently available for pre-order within the United States. We're going to be looking at, in the future, how we can get these out to the rest of the world. So the price is $6,995 for a complete 1U unit. Has NDI, has PTZ support, has 1-channel instant replay, 4 SDI. So yeah, it should be really popular.
Amazing. Amazing. And look how small it is.
Yeah, and one thing as well, in the 1U form factor, is we've managed to put into this size 2 hot swap SSD drive bays. So back in the day, you might have a really big rack mount server and you install these full-sized hard drives into it to get your storage. Well, with SSDs now, you have 2 of them, so I can just open them up like so. Really easy to plug and play storage. So you could use vMix if you didn't want to use it as your master switcher, but you want to use it for video playout, or maybe you wanted to use it for a video recording device. You just plug this into your existing workflow, plug in the SDI cord, and suddenly you've got access to all of the features in vMix.
And Martin's going to give me one to take home. He's not doing that either. No. Isn't this amazing? This is the promise of technology from years ago, that an entire 53-foot truck has now been squished into this little box. And so what used to cost hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars is now available today.
Pre-order.
Pre-order today. Shipping?
Shipping probably mid to end of May, I would say.
Next month.
Yeah.
You can have one of these next month. If you want one, call me. I'll hook you up with one.
Yeah, and we've already got some questions about this in the chat room. They're asking, what's the graphics and CPU specs inside this thing? So that's how we've been able to get the vMix software running in this form factor, is because of the latest graphics from Intel. This is an Intel i7 processor, or i5 processor rather, that has the new broad field Iris Pro graphics. And Iris Pro is Intel's aim is to catch up with the big guys, NVIDIA and AMD in the graphics department, and they've made massive improvements in the performance of that graphics just in the last 12 months. So we're using Intel graphics on this. This is the first system we recommend that only uses the Intel graphics because it's using Iris Pro. It even has dedicated video memory on it, which helps out as well. So that allows us to have this compact form factor, and even the compact form factor, even with the Intel graphics, has got 3 display support and support for 4 cameras.
Awesome, awesome. Let's see, somebody is asking if vMix NDI capture can be used with a Raspberry Pi or other mini computer. I guess it depends on the operating system running on that PC.
The NDI SDK that NewTek are making available to any developers out there, it has a beta version of what is called the ARM encoder SDK. So what that means is it provides you a file that you can load onto a ARM chip-based device like the Raspberry Pi or any other computer. As long as it's running Linux, you can use that library to create and send out a video source. So you could use Raspberry Pi as a video playback device. I mean, it's literally this big. So you could install a little SSD on it. You could write some software using that SDK, and suddenly you've got a little video playout server that's no bigger than the palm of your hand. So yeah, to answer that question, absolutely. Sign up for the SDK for NDI on the website, and if you're a programmer or experienced with all that sort of stuff, it should be easy to integrate into a Raspberry Pi.
Outstanding. And yes, Martin did say i5, not i7.
Yeah.
Because he is so smart. He can make the i5 sing in a key that nobody else can make it sing. This is awesome. Awesome. The U is available next month.
Yeah.
In the US.
Yeah, we're hoping to have them shipping next month.
Europe and overseas.
Not sure yet. We're going to see what happens here in the US and then make plans for release. It would be nice if we'd be able to release them at IBC, but at this stage, we'll wait and see.
That would be good timing. Yes, yes. Okay. All right. Tell us about, we're going to change gears here, and I'm sorry, this is really way ad hoc. I mean, you know that my shows are very carefully crafted and that each minute is counted for, and we know exactly what we're going to say all the time. But Martin has hooked this booth up to the Teradek booth that is 9 miles away in another part of this complex. And tell us what you did there and what's going on with that.
Yeah, so for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 2:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., we have a 1-hour segment produced on this stage by the guys at LiveX. LiveX are a reseller over in the East Coast, up in New York. They produce some amazing content. So they're bringing on the show all of their friends that are producing all sorts of, they brought on yesterday a 3 Emmy award-winning VFX artist on the show and talked to him about, how he does VFX for TV shows and for films, and so that was really exciting. But on the technical side of things, which I guess, your audience is much more interested in, what we do is we take the output of this. We're running this show on the vMix Go, so we take that SDI output, we connect that up to a Teradek cube, and we asked the organizers of this show to set up us a network cable from here all the way over into the Teradek booth. And they have the Teradek Cube receiver on their end. We just connect them two together using a blue network cable, and that's how we're sending our feed over to there. And then on the other end, if there wasn't enough vMix going on, they've got another vMix Go. The vMix Go is what they're using to produce the entire Teradek live show. So they plug in the SDI output from that Teradek receiver into the Go, and they're on the way. And in theory, we could have done that link using NDI. It's a 100 megabit connection, so 100 megabit is capable of doing HD. But because it's on a separate network and we wanted to link it so it didn't interfere with all the other network we're going on, and because it's Teradek, we use the cubes, because you can isolate them and you can have them on an independent network. At this stage, NDI is sort of part of the same network. It's a little bit tricky to separate it. But I mean, I'm sure if we had more time to plan, we'd be able to use NDI to do that link. But for today, for this week, we're using the Teradek cubes, and it's working really well.
Very cool, very cool. Way above my pay grade, way above my pay grade. let's change gears again. For those of you that have been watching this show for a long time, you know that Martin graced us on the show. I guess it was actually a year ago, because you were in the States for NAB, and you were going to go to Orlando to the show there, and you were taking some time out in between those two. You were in California or someplace.
Yeah, that's right.
On the beach, tanned and all that. Right now he's like, he hadn't been out in the sun for months. And since then to now, vMix has just taken off like a rocket.
Yeah, it's sort of it's still amazing to me what's happened just in the last 12 months. I mean, you could I don't know, the guys there watching the stream can't see this booth. We'll do a quick tour with the PTZ later on in the show, just to give you the scale of how far things have come. How we had the small little 10x10 booth at the very back of this south lower hall back in 2013, I'm going to say. So this is our 4th year at NAB, and even since then, since I did that show, I think I was talking to you about vMix 14. I don't even remember what the new features were, do you? Back then, or maybe it was vMix 15.
Maybe it was 15.
Yeah, so vMix 15 was all about instant replay. I believe that's what it was.
That's right.
Yeah, so since then we released vMix 16 in September, which was all the MIDI control and all of that sort of fun stuff. And then this year, right now, it's NDI. It's all about NDI and pan-tilt zoom. So yeah, it's amazing to think that was only just a year ago that all of that happened.
And in the people that I talk to that Martin doesn't talk to, they tell me that vMix is just, can I say it here? vMix is kicking butt. And these other folks that are comparable products, and I say that in quotes, are really scared, because this guy is just, and I told Tim this where's Tim? I told Tim this at dinner last night. The product is underpriced, overpowered, underpromised. It is incredible. When I was talking with Tim last night at dinner, I was telling him my story in 2008. I was shooting photographs and doing video of my son's soccer matches. If you're watching overseas, yes, it's football. And somebody asked me one day, they said, can you do video live so that people can watch it over the internet? Because we're doing a soccer tournament down in Florida, and there's a soccer team in Oklahoma who's one of the players is the daughter of Garth Brooks, who is a country western singer. You know Garth Brooks down in Australia?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. And so Garth Brooks' daughter was going to be there, but Garth wasn't going to be able to come. So could we somehow figure out a way to get live video back to Oklahoma? And they said, Tom, you're the video guy. You're the geek, is what they meant. And I said, oh, sure, we can do that. No problem. I didn't have a clue. I had a webcam. And I had a laptop, this old beat-up laptop right here, and I knew I could get the webcam on the internet, but this was before even Ustream existed, I think. And I found some company out in Kansas that would let me stream to a little teeny player about, maybe 80 by 50 or something like that. I mean, it was so small. And so we went to this, and this was back when I had my old, a Motorola flip phone that I could tether to my PC.
Wow,
and I got an internet connection. It must have been 200K. I mean, we were screaming. And we hooked all this stuff up, and it actually worked. And we had to take, do they have duct tape in Australia?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, well, just checking. So we took duct tape and we duct taped the tripod and the webcam together. And the webcam had a microphone in it, so there was our audio. And, we were like ESPN, man. we had it all. But we were so nervous we didn't want to say anything on camera, and we didn't want to get on camera ourselves. Didn't really matter because the player was just so small. The people that were watching us, and they were amazing, the number of people that were watching. I'll tell you about that in just a second. The people who were watching us, they were little teeny people running up and down on the field, and they really couldn't see, but they could hear, and they could sort of see the action, and they were able to grasp the atmosphere. And in the second half of the first game, we got really crazy about graphics. And we took a clipboard and a magic marker and we wrote the score on the clipboard on a piece of paper, and we put it in front of the webcam so that now we had this, we had high-tech graphics. So we had graphics, we had audio, we had video, but the next thing we needed was commentary. So after about 3 games had gone by, we finally got up a nerve to talk about what was going on the field. And this was a 2-day tournament. By the end of the second day, you know, we had coaches in there and everybody was offering their opinion about what was going on. And it was an absolute blow up. Somehow the link to that little thing got into a soccer forum.
Oh, wow.
And people passed this around all over the state all over the southeast of the United States. And we had, and the emails that I got back the next week were just out of this world. It was amazing. And it was at that point that I realized that streaming soccer was going to be great. And I missed the whole point because I said streaming soccer. And I didn't get streaming.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything.
Everything.
Everything. And so we did hundreds and hundreds of soccer matches, and we traveled all over doing soccer and just had a ball. And finally, one day after probably 2010, we just sort of discovered, you know what? We don't have to do just soccer. We can do baseball. Anyway, long story short, that's where this show came from. And I discovered, you know, that streaming is perfect for anything that anybody has got a passion with. If you've got I've got a friend in New York City, and his passion is, you're not going to believe this, his passion is making shoes by hand.
Oh, wow, okay.
How many people do you know that like to make shoes by hand?
Do you know what
there's one back there. Very good.
Do you know what they call that? Somebody that makes shoes by hand? Isn't there's a term for it?
A cobbler?
Maybe. That sounds right.
I mean, that's the professional.
Yeah.
Person would be a cobbler, I think. Anyway, this guy had a passion for it. And in his neighborhood, you know, how many people were going to be interested in this? None.
Well, if it's...
But if his neighborhood is the internet...
Exactly.
There can be hundreds of thousands of people all across the world that would love to participate. And so he's taken his passion to the world in a way that he never, ever would have been able to before. And it just, that hooked me. It hooked me. Now, Martin is only 19 years old, but I'm 60. And
I wish.
And he and Tim and Kimberly are the future here. I'm just catching the tail end of the wave. But I got it now. I got it. If you've got a passion and you want to share your passion with anybody, anywhere, not in Germany if you're using YouTube, but other than that, anybody, anywhere, you can do it using vMix, a computer of this little vintage guy right here will still do, in fact, vMix 17 runs beautifully on this little dual core.
Wow, okay.
I changed out the CPU on this one. It's got a 2 gigahertz processor on it now. Woo! We were crushing it. We were crushing it. But it is amazing what you can do with less than optimum equipment. In the studio, back in the Streaming Idiot studio, Eastern Shore Broadcasting, most of our stuff is not cutting edge. It's stuff that I've built with cast-off parts, second generation CPUs, things like that. The custom-built PCs that we make for folks in the worship field, in the sports field, and in the talk show field, those don't use the second generation PC parts. We're using the latest, greatest technology, and if you're interested in that, this is not a commercial for that, but if you're interested in that, you know, let me know. I don't want to compete with Martin's, and I can't compete with that. So we'll just let this be about vMix. For those folks that are in that, Tom says, move that headset cable behind you. Oh, sorry. Anderson is always keeping me looking my best. Thank you, Anderson. So let's see, and somebody else has said it's amazing that there's duct tape outside the U.S. That's the beauty of a chat room, is that you got all sorts of crazies in there.
It's just amazing to me, and I just wanted to say thanks for coming on by the show. You've been one of the big sort of proponents of vMix and allowing anybody to do a live stream, and that's really where vMix came from. vMix is now being used by the big guys out there now, but my whole passion and vision has always been to allow anybody to do a live stream. And you're so humble about your show, but the way you do your show, the way that you just allow everybody to see everything that you're doing, even if you make a mistake.
He's talking about all the mistakes that I make on a regular basis.
But that helps. The title. That helps new people doing streams work stuff out. They don't want to see a perfect production because they don't learn anything from it.
But they can watch y'all's show for a perfect production.
Even our monthly show, we make mistakes, and just seeing how far your show's come. I'm just looking at the chat room here. I think I counted 60 people in the chat room today. So for all our streams during the week,
40 of those are paid.
Yeah. So it's amazing. So thanks for coming.
Well,
thank
you. And you're very gracious. You're very gracious. If you have questions about vMix, shoot an email to me. This is my show. Tom at EasternShoreBroadcasting.com. I'd be happy to respond to you about that if I can help you in any way. No, but seriously, where can you go for more information? You can go to vmix.com, and Martin, this is something that Martin will do today. All right, I'm setting you up for this. He doesn't know this is coming. Martin is going to give you 2 months free use of vMix.
Yeah, I'm going to add that today. I'm going to call it 60-day trial. How does that sound?
60-day trial. I love it. I love it. All right. Just because I've asked him to do this, he's going to do this. So if you go to vmix.com, you can get a 60-day trial of the vMix HD edition, which is really the primo edition. It's sort of in the middle of the offering.
In fact,
price-wise.
I will increase it to the Pro edition. The trial, I'll give them 60-day trial of the Pro edition.
Get out.
So I'll do that.
Really? I want one of those. Mark's over there going, I'll take one. That's right. All right. 60 days of okay. Now this is just for people that know me, right?
Yeah, we'll have some special software that detects that it's a Streaming Idiots audience member, and we'll make sure they get the 60-day trial.
Okay, we're good. So 60-day free trial, vmix.com, and there'll be some sort of note there that you can do that. Remember, it's got NDI. Remember, it's got PTZ. Remember, it's got instant replay. Remember, it's got MIDI control. I'm breathless. And
web browser input.
Oh, we didn't even talk about web browser.
That's all right.
Can we talk about web browser?
Yeah. In fact, people wanted to see the Bird Dog website. Why don't you show them the Bird Dog website right now with the web browser? You want to this is all about Streaming Idiots, doing stuff live. So it should be, it's right there in the list actually, so you could find down the bottom of the, right there.
Wow, look at this. You were holding out on me. Okay, we'll give it a second to populate.
There we go. So that's what people have been asking about in the chat room. And they even said that there is a pre-order price of $5.95. So that's the NDI adapter for the back of your camera. It has tally lights. vMix will automatically give it the tally information. And you can see there it has pass-through SDI. Yeah, there we go. So there's the specifications. So that's bird-dog.tv. So it looks really cool.
That is cool. And that is also a great example of the web browser.
Exactly, yeah.
Perfect opportunity to use that. Tell me, are we okay time-wise?
Yeah, we're good.
Just a few more minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got another hour. Okay, so Tell me where the idea of the web browser came from.
It actually came
from... Was
that
Tim's idea?
It was Tim's idea. So Tim has been working with a lot of gamers out there that do game streaming. And so
he kind of looks like a gamer, you know?
Well, I think he talks to a lot of them. I don't know if he games a lot himself these days, being so busy with vMix. But yeah, a lot of people in the gaming community, they stream to Twitch. Twitch is like the YouTube live of game streaming. Everybody streams their games, and they use various pieces of software. And there's a website called Twitch Alerts. Twitch Alerts just uses the web page to create graphical elements, overlays, and downstream keys. And so they just used the web browser to do it. They solved that problem. They didn't want a separate graphics generating system. And a lot of those game streaming software tools out there already had the web browser input support. And Tim has been bugging me, saying, we need to get those gamers into vMix. And what they need is the web browser inputs. They can bring in their graphics. And so I've had enough, Tim, of you telling me this on the weekend. I spent a weekend working on it.
A weekend.
Huge
feature, a weekend.
Yeah, it wasn't even...
I didn't have anything else to do.
It wasn't even going to be in vMix 17, but I just heard everybody in the office telling me over and over again, hey, we need to do this web browser input for gamers. I said, I'd had enough. I thought, all right, let's see how hard it is to do. And it actually was relatively easy to add, and I added it in there, beta 1, and gave it to the office, and they were talking about it, and the first thing these gamers said is, we need audio. So I was like, oh, okay, they need audio as well. And so I hacked it up a bit, did some little behind-the-scenes things in Windows, things you're not even supposed to be doing in order to get the audio out of the browser.
That's my guy.
Into vMix.
Doing things you're not supposed to do. I knew I liked this guy.
So that's what we did. We did a full browser input with audio support, with full mixing capabilities. You can even add a compressor to your browser audio. You can add an EQ, which no other tool out there can do.
To the browser audio.
So yeah. And that's it. That's the genesis of the browser. But what I wanted to do with it, and what I realized is, hey, that's great for the gamers, but I really needed some feature that I could appreciate, to motivate me to build it. And that was, we're always showing websites during our monthly live show. Wouldn't it be great if we didn't have to use desktop capture to do it? And it made it so much easier. So there you go. Web browser input. And in fact, it's just funny how these things work out. The feature that I sort of put on there at the end of it has become the feature a lot of people have been asking about here at the show. Because they know it does NDI. We've been talking about NDI for months now. They're sort of sick of it. They're like, okay, I know, I'm using it. They want something new, and web browser is something exciting that people have been talking about. So it's been great.
I asked Martin a while back, I said, okay, NAB, we're going to talk about vMix 18. He said, not 18, not yet. And apparently it's like, yeah, because there's still cool stuff coming out of... Do you know in vMix 17, this is one of my favorite features. It's not a huge feature, but it's one of my favorite features, that the color bars now can carry labels.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that is so awesome. That is so awesome. I love the whole color bar concept. For those people that don't know, let's see if I've got a desktop I can share. Did I do this? Was I smart enough to put that in there? No, I would.
There it is, right there, number 20.
Yep, there we go. And so what we're talking about, my cursor shows on the... Okay. So we're talking about the ability to come in and just add titles. And the gray level is everything. So I can add a title, and you see it just jumps right in there. And now everything, I can go to the everything level and it shows everything. Yay, wow. Isn't that awesome? That is just so awesome, Martin. Whose idea was to label that?
It was a collaborative effort. And I mean, I build a feature, and then people come to the shows and come up to me and say, wouldn't it be great if it does this? It doesn't do that. And that's what's great about these shows. Everybody's got these features, and they rattle around in my brain for a little while. And the main thing was, in order to have the labels, I needed it across the top. So you can see it used to be
down the left
there.
side, yeah.
So I had to work out a way to, because the first thing people asked me was, we want this in there, but we still want the screens to be just as big. So I'm okay, how am I going to fit something in there? And I can't shrink anything. So I had to cut little bits of pixels off the titles. They're a little bit shorter in the previous version. The top bar is a little bit shorter. Just shaving off a few pixels here and there gave me enough room to put that up the top without sacrificing any screen real
and
estate.
And we're not satisfied. Now we want 12 colors, not just 6.
Yeah, well now it's across the top.
You got plenty of room.
Can keep adding more. I think I've run out of colors in the rainbow though. We need to invent a new level of physics with more colors, I think.
Yeah, you could do crosshatch, you could do stripes, stars, hearts, banners. Yeah. Okay. That is indeed one of my really favorite features because it's organizing a show when you're the only person doing it to be able to go exactly what you need and have different file drawers essentially to put everything in. It makes all the difference in the world. All the difference in the world. Now, I know what I wanted to ask you. The PTZ control is the PTZ optics, PTZ cams, and Sony and Panasonic cams that have a particular something.
Yeah, CGI. So it's usually any Panasonic PTZ or Sony PTZ camera that has web control. So you can log into it with your browser and configure the settings. If it can do that, then we can also control it. And so,
what if I have a Marshall PTZ?
So that's the thing we're looking into. The goal with PTZ support initially was to make it really easy for people to be able to control cameras. Previously, PTZ have the serial control, right? So you have to get that serial plug in. You have to figure out. You have to get a long cable run in order to get that, and then figure out a USB adapter to get the serial ports into computers because computers don't have serial ports anymore. And I just thought, why not just support the web cameras? PTZ Optics, does it. Panasonic and Sony, but we're hearing a lot of people saying, I've got these old cameras in the attic, I've got them in the cupboard, and I want to be able to use them as well. So I might look at adding that and sort of say to them, hey, it's a little bit of a pain in the neck to wire it up this way, but I guess if you want to put that effort in, instead of making a big investment on a brand new camera, it might be worth it. So
Gotcha. Awesome. There was another feature I wanted to talk about that I was so excited about that it just jumped out of my brain and left. Oh golly. Brain failure is just not something you want to look forward to.
Well, I'm surprised I'm still conscious at this point.
Yeah, that's right.
I've been here a week and a half. We spent a whole week preparing for a show that's 4 days. It's one of the NAB is one of these amazing things. You spend 6 months preparing. 6 months preparing, 1 week installing, 4 days of the show.
Oh, they're putting this booth up, right? And some of you have already heard this story. And one of the sprinkler heads in the ceiling above,
just right over back there,
and it soaked the booth next door.
Do you want to give everybody a tour? Live show.
Yeah.
So we can.
Let's see. Where did we put that? All right. Here is a shot that shows. This is the booth.
Yeah.
And this is your Sony 4K cam, fixed cam across the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right there to the right, if people look there, that's where the water was pouring down, and the booth there to the right of that, just the other day. But yeah, go to PTZ Sony. I think that'll be a good camera. Go back to everything. Let's go to, that one. And that way we'll be able to cut that to the output and then show them
we could do that,
tour of the booth. Yeah, so we've got this running. Wrong one, other one. The other one. This one right here?
Yes,
that's the one.
Okay.
So let's move them around and show them the booth. So we can zoom out. And we can spin it around. There we go.
And that's looking down the aisle.
Yep. HD. Yeah. Yeah, we have an audience here in their booth, so they're just asking questions, asking whether we're doing our production in 4K. vMix supports 4K, but most cameras are still HD, so we're at a HD production. which is fine for streaming.
How many other software switcher-like things support 4K?
None of them, as far as I know.
None of them. How about that? Wow.
So there's our demo stations over there in the booth. So I think that's the furthest our camera's going to go.
We're going to have to spin back
around. I think that gives people a sort of an idea of...
Oh, come on. Let's go the other way.
Yeah, let's go the other way. There we go. There's the lounge over there.
If I do that, will it slow down the panning?
That will be the zoom control.
Oh, okay.
So you can...
That's the speaker booth across the way that just
playing some music before. Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah, okay. All right. So let's make that camera go back to where it was
go to
before.
the virtual set tab and select the virtual main shot. And the camera should go back, and we're back.
There we are.
Easy as that.
Wow. Wow. So many toys to play with. You're never going to sleep. This is great. All right, let's see if we've got any questions that we need to cover before we... I'll let you choose the questions you want to go with.
So they're asking, of course, the obvious question. One of the big things at NAB this year is 360 VR support. So at this stage, there's some ways you can bring in 360 cameras into vMix, but it's not, I guess, a design goal at the moment. I mean, vMix is all about allowing everybody to create productions. 360 is sort of a novelty at this stage, so I'm of the opinion of waiting and seeing, and if it's going to reach a large market, if a lot of people are going to be looking at it.
I think so too. Yes, I think that this is 3D TV all over again.
Yeah, it could well be. And if those remember, 3D was all the rage.
Oh, it was going to be
2 to 3 years ago. And does anybody have a 3D TV anymore?
I do, but you know how many times I watched 3D? My grandson came one time, and so we rented a video, and so we could watch 3D TV. One time.
One time. Wow.
One time. Okay.
So wait and see. We'll see what happens. But it's really exciting. A lot of the applications of 360 they don't need a switch. They just, like the Teradek live show, they're producing all of that with the vMix Go, traditional switched production that people can watch on the website, but they also have their brand new camera rig called the Sphere, which uses 4 GoPros, and they're just sitting it there on stage. So someone can log into that and just, use the mouse or use a VR headset and sort of see a 360-degree view of the booth, and that's like, cool, I can see how everything's put together. But when they actually want to watch the content, I think they're going to switch over to the other stream. Right. But I don't know. We'll see what the feedback is like at the show, and see what 360 happens in the future.
I like the classification of novelty, because I really do think that's what it is. Yeah, it's a novelty. But for folks that have a passion for streaming, it's the content that you want to get out there, and a piece of technology like that doesn't necessarily make the content better.
That's right. Yeah, content is always going to be, content is king, is the phrase.
What a phrase. I love that.
I didn't invent that. That is, okay. Maybe it's something over in Australia where, if you don't have good content, then the stream is, kind
of like the show. If you don't have good content. Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap it up, shall we?
Sure.
Is there anything that you want to share on the way out?
I would just mention to everybody, always subscribe to us on Twitter at vMixHD. Remember, we're doing the LiveX cross to the Teradek booth. You can watch it on this live stream. You can also watch it over there at nabliveshow.com, which is the Teradek's live stream. They have a lot of great guests on their show as well. I'd just say to check those out. They're on at 2:30 this afternoon. And I'll just say again, thanks, Tom, for coming by. This is months in the planning, and I'm great. It's just relieving to see it all come together and to put this show together.
Look at that face. I think it went well. Of somebody that's relieved and happy, and he's going to be out of here soon. A little advertisement. I'm Tom Sinclair. This is Martin Sinclair. We're 19th cousins, I think. You can go to my website, easternshorebroadcasting.com, and I'm an authorized vMix reseller. And so you can buy the software that you trial from him. You can come back and buy from me, and you get something special when you buy it from me that you don't get when you buy it from Martin. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
you get me free. So you get lifetime tech support. You know how I say it's lifetime?
Yeah.
Your life or mine, whichever comes first.
Whoever comes first.
So lifetime tech support of vMix from EasternShoreBroadcasting.com, Tom Sinclair. Thank you so much for those of you in the chat room that tuned in live. Thank you. It's a treat to have you. We are honored by your presence here live. For those folks that came from the show today to watch, thank you for coming in. And for those of you that are watching on YouTube, we are delighted that you would do that. And we ask you to subscribe so that you can see more underwhelming content like this in the future. That's it. We're done.
Well, I was entertained, so thanks guys for watching, and
we are going to see if we can close this out. Hat tip to Martin Kay at Zen Video in Manchester for putting together this clip for us, and we are out.